time, 10:30 Eastern, with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your morning started off right. And what a morning it has been so far. We are dealing with in California with massive historic wildfires that are really breaking records. We've got over 2 million acres of land that's just been burned to the ground in California this year alone. The danger for more destruction is very, very high, and the U.S. Forest Service said on Monday night, which was last night, that it was closing all 8 national forests in the southern half of the state. So 2 of the 3 largest fires in California state history are burning in the San Francisco Bay Area right now. Good morning, Mark from Los Angeles. You're down here in LA, so you're probably not experiencing some of the fires, but that are happening up in the Bay Area. But we do have fires burning out in the Pasadena area here in LA, and 2 of the 3 largest fires in our California state history are burning up right now in the Bay Area. So there's been more than 14,000 firefighters who are battling those fires, and there are dozens across the entire state. So we had a 3-day heat wave, triple digit temperatures up into the hundreds, past the 100s, and it created a perfect storm. And one of the most notable was a fire that happened right here in the Los Angeles area because of a major a gender reveal party. I guess there was a party where some folks were having a party to reveal the gender of their unborn new baby, and they had a smoke machine that caused a spark that caused a flame, and that to me is pretty wild. There's a lot of apocalyptic fires around LA. The sky is very, it's a dark, hazy sky, lots of strange weather going on here in California. So good morning, everybody. Lots of smoke, says Mark Goldman. Mob Burner 251 is telling me to learn to code. Will you teach me? I would love to. So anyway, this is a big problem here in California. The temperatures are dropping a little bit this morning and today, but the fires that are burning across the state are historic. So in other news, this morning we're learning that the House Democrats of the United States House of Representatives are announcing an investigation into U.S. Postmaster Louis DeJoy. So yesterday we talked about this, but a little bit about the revelations that U.S. DeJoy was pressuring his former employees to donate to the GOP and then reimbursing them with large bonuses from 2003 to 2014. So the chief Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Carolyn Maloney, she's the chair on the House Committee on Oversight and Reform. She plans to probe DeJoy about whether he broke the law or if he has lied under oath to the panel. This is, of course, extremely troubling given the fact that the November election is right around the corner, and U.S. Postmaster Louis DeJoy has been accused with intentionally slowing down the U.S. Postal Service ahead of the November election. And enough is enough. Carrie G&H says, good, get them all. Hey, if there's corruption and if there's criminality, I agree with you, get them all. Donald Trump came to power promising to drain the swamp, and there's been a great deal of criminality and corruption in his administration and filtering down through his cabinets out now. So yesterday, Trump wished Americans a happy Labor Day, and it was a press conference where he was pitching re-election talking points and not really talking about Labor Day, which is, of course, to celebrate labor and the labor movement in the United States. He called presidential nominee Joe Biden stupid. He ordered a reporter to remove his mask while addressing him, and the Reuters White House journalist who Trump was sort of assaulting refused to do it. So it was kind of another deranged performance by Trump on the national stage. So in other news, Mike Pence is also, of course, pitching Donald Trump's reelection, Vice President Mike Pence. And yeah, it's an interesting Twitter check on Vice President Pence yesterday. He made a campaign claim that was really sort of funny because it got a lot of blowback. But he made a campaign claim about the America's place in the world. He says, quote, "I can tell you that after traveling to more than 30 countries as your vice president, America is respected in the world again." This really, it invited a lot of bite back on Twitter, particularly. People are tweeting back, talking about, "When at some point in the future I'm allowed to visit other countries, I look forward to asking about this." Of course, people are biting back because America has a coronavirus problem that is completely out of control, and the United States has not coordinated a federal response to coronavirus, and as a result, we are prohibited from entering most countries. Most countries don't want us to come. They've banned us from going. So when Vice President Pence says America is respected in the world again, of course, it draws a little bit of skepticism for people who don't feel that we are in the same standing in the world. Of course, he's done a lot to damage relationships abroad since he took office, pulling out of treaties, he's trying to destroy America's standing in NATO. And it's all around sort of a laughable comment from Mike Pence about our standing in the world. And of course, we're coming into the November election, so the president is extremely nervous about his reelection chances. And so he's been assaulting vote by mail. He's been accusing vote by mail systems as promoting fraud. The studies have been done on this. There have been less than 200 convictions of vote by mail fraud in the United States since the year 2000. It's extremely rare, and there have been hundreds of millions of vote by mail ballots cast. So it's extremely rare, and yet he is continuing to assault vote by mail systems in his messaging. So that's sort of concerning. And in this ongoing assault, it looks like Kevin McCarthy, who is the Republican leader in the United States House of Representatives, the minority leader, has talked to Trump and asked him to please stop attacking vote by mail. So Kevin McCarthy, Republican, very concerned that these assaults on vote by mail will backfire for Republicans and for Donald Trump. Apparently, McCarthy did an interview with Axios where he says that we could lose based on the attempts to assault vote by mail. He says that this could result in Democrats voting by mail and Republicans not voting by mail. And because of the coronavirus pandemic, Trump supporters might not vote in person either. So McCarthy says, quote, "I tried to show him, who is most afraid of COVID? Seniors," McCarthy says. "And if you're not going to go vote, period, we're screwed," says Rep. McCarthy. Now, these elections come down to 1 to 2 votes per precinct in the United States. And in 2016, Hillary Clinton won the national popular vote by 3 million votes and then lost 77,000 votes in 3 states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, a total of 77,000 votes. And when you do the math, that comes out to 1 or 2 voters per precinct. So what Republicans are really hoping is that people stay home, because the less there's a turnout, the less likely it is that Republicans win. So let's see. Mark Goldman says, "I heard Trump saying he is, quote, taking the high road by not meeting with House Democrats about a new stimulus bill." It's an interesting spin from the president. Having to avoid any accountability is sort of his game. When someone was asked whether he takes any responsibility for coronavirus, he said, "I don't take any responsibility at all." That was March 13th of this year. And so this is, of course, the same president that was calling it a hoax and saying it was going to cure itself for months when the rest of the world had coordinated a response right away. So that is what we've got this morning for the AM Report with Alex Mahajer for HAPS News, the network of now. We are live every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. If you like this content, if you'd like to support me in this content, please consider buying me a cup of coffee. Visit me at haps.tv/@Alex Mahajer, and we will see you tomorrow morning. And thanks for joining, everybody.